what's going on? It is Ash here coming at you today in Clash Royale. We just got the big announcement here. Fantasy Royale is back. That's because CRL kicks off next week. I'll include the channel where all CRL West and East, which is actually mid-season right now, are broadcast on YouTube. Today I'm going to give you my top selections for Fantasy Royale inside the game. You can see it on your news tab here. Not that tab, this tab. Go to Esports tab. At the top, Fantasy Royale, play now. I'm going to give you my best picks in terms of top players, the favorites, and then I'm going to give you some sleepers, but I can't do this alone. That's why I have who better to bring on than the two casters in English for CRL West. It is Rich Slayton and Andrew Guy. Rich, Andrew, what's up, fellas?
What's up, dude? How you doing, man?
I'm doing fantastic. I need your expertise. I need you guys to help me pick the perfect lineup. Rich, what's up, dude?
Not a whole lot. Just, getting ourselves ready for CRL West to kick off. Everyone kept asking when it's coming. I kept saying late May. Here we are. It's finally happening. Andrew and I are so pumped.
Yeah, dude, I got to admit, when I see that Fantasy Royale tab in game, I'm just like, yes, it's here. Even though I haven't had the best luck in past, I feel like this is my year. 2020 is my year.
I feel confident too. I feel like I get some good selections, but I can't wait to hear what you guys say. I do want to give a big shout out right at the bat here, guys. I'll have the Mad Cat channel and the YouTube channel of both of these guys, Rich and Andrew. Check them out. Support the guest here that we have on the channel. All that will be linked again in the show notes below the description. Anyway, fellas, Fantasy Royale, the quick basics here is we can win we win 1,000 gems, right? Is the grand prize. First, second, third place, all payout. You can trade players. You can select 4, but you can trade players every week. So there is some flexibility. You know, if a guy gets injured or whatever, you guys can go ahead and make those trades, pick up hot players, try to swindle your clanmates. So it's pretty simple. When a player takes down a tower in CRL, you get a tower point on your fantasy roster. I'm sure a lot of you guys have probably, some familiarity with esports, with fantasy sports. Anyway, guys, let's go ahead. I'm going to press play on my roster here, on my game, and I have no team selected. Have either of you guys selected a team yet?
No. I have to admit, I'm waiting a little bit longer to lock it in until I get a view, because you can change it week by week, right? So I'm waiting until we see what the first week matchups before I really lock it in. Ooh. I know who I feel for each team, but I'm holding off for a couple of days.
Yeah, I'm really excited to have the ability to just change every single week. I think I know exactly who I want to start the season off with, but we all know how quickly things can change. If someone gets hot, as Ash said, if someone stubs their finger, they sprain their thumb, you never know if they have to bench them for a couple weeks. So I think I know where I want to start with, but yeah, man, it's going to be crazy as the season moves on.
Yeah, and here's how I want to do this, guys. I want to go ahead and pick like the dream team. So we're all going to pick our 4 favorites. If we had to just, if there was $1 billion on the line, right? No chances at all. And then we're going to take another team, each of us selecting 4 more players, kind of like, dark horses or kind of sleeper picks here for my viewers to go ahead and take some chances. Now, if people tie, if there's, 10,000 people who have the best roster, you'll all get the same reward. It's not like you have to split 1,000 gems, 1,000 ways, just kind of as a technicality there. So guys, let's start with the best of the best here. I kind of want to, let's just get into it. Who wants to go first?
What do you think, Rich? You want to go or you want me to?
You know what? I'm still doing I'm doing my final math. And
okay.
It's because I have my picks already, but I have some stats I want to throw behind them.
Okay.
So
okay.
I'll nominate you to lead off.
Okay. All right. So my thought process here is that you usually want to get a guy that's strong in 2v2 and can show up in King of the Hill or 1v1 and close out the set, right? Like you want someone that ideally is going to get out there at least for 2 or 3 games every single match. And hopefully, obviously, they're going to get crowns from that. So I'm really always leaning towards people that are strong 2v2 players like Morton and the God RF. Those are guys that I think are very good in 2v2, but also I would take them any day of the week into King of the Hill or 1v1. So I'm actually going to start with both of those boys. I'm going to start with my boy, the God RF, of course, from Space Station, and then Morton from SK. I love what they do. I love all the work they put in the offseason. And again, I've seen what they can do in 2v2. Now, to add to that, I'm also going to throw in Canario. He's a guy that I know if anyone on Team Liquid is not feeling up to snuff for that day in head-to-head or 1v1, King of the Hill or 1v1, Canario can always go out there and take control of a set, and he's dominant in 2v2. I believe we're going to see him in 2v2, maybe with Diego again. I'd be surprised if it was Surge, but it could be. But Canario is going to be my third, and then for my fourth, there's been so much going on with no tilt and superstars coming out. Obviously, Team Queso was just dominant, and then you saw what Jupiter King did there for Tribe. I think I have to go maybe with Ruben on Team Queso. I've got a feeling about the kid. He's hungry. I loved his energy last year. I love talking to him. Team Queso looks like they are going to be so strong. And from what I've heard, I believe they are in a team house, which I think gives them a very strong advantage moving forward, especially when it comes to 2v2 and team chemistry. So I think that is going to be my 4. RF, Morten, Ruben, and Canario. So I'm not picking anyone from the same team. I'm trying to spread it all out, and I think all these guys can dominate in the 2v2 set and the 1v1. And honestly, I love watching all these guys play.
All right, that's a great top 4, Andrew. Great top 4. And I have Rich, are your calculations complete?
Yes, and you know what? I wish I'd gone first now.
Please tell me I have all your
picks. It's the same picks.
It's the exact same 4.
Yes, dude.
How about this?
I'm going to give you some numbers behind why it's the exact same 4. Andrew gave you the feelings behind and some good theory between like 2v2 and 1v1. I'm going to give you some numbers behind these top 4, because Canario has one of the highest average games won per season in CRL at 27 game wins per season average, which is huge. A lot of top tier players, you're talking to look at OP Sam, who averages just under 20. Sergio Ramos doesn't play a whole lot, right? I mean, even go take a look over on the Team Liquid side. For the rest of his teammates, Canario far outstrips his teammates in average games won. Surgical Goblin averages around 16 games won per season. So you put that in, just think about what that means crown-wise. Canario's average games won per season is, I haven't seen if it's the highest yet. I'm still crunching the numbers, but it's way up there on averages. So you're looking at that over 3 seasons.
Yeah,
that's already massive, right? Morten is another guy who averages 22 1/3 games won per season, and Ruben, he put up 24 game wins in his first season. And then so you look at numbers wise, all these guys from a pure stats, and Andrew knows better than anybody that I'm a huge number cruncher when it comes to this game.
Oh, he's obsessed. He's so obsessed that it's also translated over to me. And like hearing you say all this just gives me lifeblood. Keep going.
Yeah, dude. I sat with you guys. I think I mentioned this before, but even in Japan, going back 2 years or whatever it was, a year, I remember sitting with you guys at like a cafe, and you're just like, it was serious time. I love it though. There was like spreadsheets, papers flying everywhere, all the rosters and every configuration. You guys put in your homework, so that's why you're the perfect guest for this video too. But continue on, Rich.
Well, and then you add in the last person, which is RF, who for a long time was like a 2v2 guy who could get some single game wins, but he's already kicked off with one of the best 2020s of anybody.
Oh yeah,
right. Like of course, #1 at CWA Cup was kind of a big feather in his cap. Mm-hmm. His latter performances. So you add in what he's doing.
Bren Chong too.
Yeah, right. So you put all those things together. You put in the fact he's going to be playing 2v2 with AC again, and then you put in the fact that he's already shown what he can do 1v1, what he can do in King of the Hill. I think he's going to play a lot. So you add in that. The only wild card there in terms of not being a 2v2 player is Ruben. But people forget that Ruben does get mixed in 2v2. He had 8 2v2 game wins. He played 5 sets during the last season. So all 4 of these guys, what they have is high average games won. And to me, that's the #1 driving stat.
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't have any of those awesome stats, but I picked the same 4 too.
No way.
I was gonna lie and just pretend I didn't pick Ruben, but he was on my, I have my 4 written down, and that's the 4. So, but for me, all these players are beasts. And again, because you guys said the thing to look out for here is just the overall wins, like players who have that dual purpose, who play 2v2 and 1v1 and King of the Hill. Like that's where the volume comes into play. And of course, there's a reason they're playing every match, every mode, because they're the best players in the game, So I agree with you guys. There are some tough choices though. There's definitely it can be an argument made for a bunch of different guys. So let's just go on to the dark horses here. Do you want to go first this time, Rich, or do you have to crunch numbers again?
Sure.
Okay.
And I went for a very, very, very dark horse type of pick. Like I took that idea and ran all the way with it.
Okay.
I'd say that 3 of my picks are pretty strong, like definitely dark horse picks.
Okay.
And then one of them might surprise you guys on this list. People I think are actually dark horses. So my number 1 pick for my dark horse is from Chivas Esports. It's Richard. First of all, excellent name. Second, yeah, I mean that might be enough, but he's also playing 2v2. Pompeo's been alternating teammates between Adrian Piedra and Richard. He's playing 2v2 with Pompeo. He's playing it well, and at no tilt, he proved multiple times he can sweep King of the Hill. So I think Richard has like a really high upside when you're talking about someone who's a dark horse pick.
I like that.
Bellican,
that's a good pick.
St. Bellican's for the same reason. He'll be playing 2v2 for Chivas, almost assured, for Cream Real Betis, almost assuredly. He's a 2v2 specialist, and we know his level, like his long-term experience level, and he's hungry. Like he just wants to come back. He wants to come back and smash some people. Water as I continue to talk down. There you go. My third dark horse pick is Razor, who is going to be the 2v2 duo for their squad. Is gonna be, I believe, Razor and Dip, and I mean, I am getting right that that's their roster, right? Is Dip? It's gonna be like a manager, player, coach, manager type thing.
He's officially on the roster right now, right?
Yeah.
I believe that those are the 4. It's
Air Surfer and Wings.
If I'm wrong.
Yep.
Yeah, Air Surfer, Wings, Razor, and Dip. I believe that they're going to do Razor and Dip as the 2v2 duo. Either way, Razor's going to be their 2v2 guy, and I think this will be a breakout year for him again.
Yeah.
He and Colton are not the same kind of player, and I think that hurt them in 2v2 as time went on, as their styles didn't continue to kind of unglue the two of them as a pair. He seems really fired up about this season, really ready for it. And of course, he's a killer. He's still the King Killer. He put together some great sweeps in No Tilt League, which was all about King of the Hill. Mm-hmm. So I think that he's a great dark horse pick. And then my last guy who's a dark horse, who people would be like, how is he a dark horse pick? But he really is, in my opinion, and that's Buffmac. Buffmac, I think people are writing him off a whole lot because he struggled in No Tilt League, and I think he has some things to work on in terms of chemistry under this new system with Tribe. It's a very different way that they're managing the team versus what he was used to with Energy, where they kind of like let Buffmac do what he wants to do, and he's kind of trying to refigure that out. I think No Tilt League was a growing pains opportunity, and now that we're getting into this section, I think he's going to be right back on track. And I believe that Azelius and Buffmac will actually be playing 2v2.
I was just going to ask that.
More than Jupiter and TNT.
Okay, I was just going to ask you that. I thought that I was under the impression it was going to be Jupiter and TNT. So you think it's going to be Azelius and Boof?
I think it's going to be just as likely Azelius as Boof as Jupiter and TNT. Okay. In scrims, they've run Boof and Azelius a bunch. I think that
that's why it's hard though. That's why it's hard to pick someone from Tribe, is because you're not 100% sure, right? And you really want that 2v2 and 1v1 guy. Yeah, I mean, again, the format, it's one of those ones where it's like you might only have 3 players play in the first 2 sets, so that does make some things challenging. But I think Buffmac's going to play a lot of 2v2 this season. I know he's been working on that and kind of reinventing himself from a 2v2 perspective for this season, as a 2v2 and King of the Hill guy. Which honestly, King of the Hill is as a place where he can truly shine. He led the league in King of the Hill wins last season. I think you put those two things together, and he's good for and weird to say, Buffmac is a dark horse pick, the number 1 free agent of the offseason, but that's my guy. Yeah. No, good picks. I like putting Buffmac in there because a lot of people might not realize, but yeah, a lot of people are kind of down on him because of no-tilt performance. But I agree with you 100%. I mean, he has that pedigree. And I do want to make one note too on Razor. When is this guy going to give the respect that he deserves, right?
Yeah. Dude, I know.
Like, how many times does he have to come up huge in really high-pressure situations until people are just picking him as one of the 4 favorites, right? I do think that Razor is one of those guys that no one talks about him as being like, when you ask somebody who's the top 5 players in Clash Royale, no one really says Razor, and I think he really deserves to be in that conversation. He's always performed, He's clutch.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, dude. I feel like he was probably 5th on my list, honestly, which is like why I'd start off my quote unquote dark horse roster with him. Rich, I completely echo every sentiment that you said about Razor. I think he's so good in 2v2. I think that his partner now is going to be a little more fitting as they move forward in their careers at CRL. And I obviously what he does in his head-to-head play, especially in King of the Hill, has always been astounding. He is literally one of the most slept upon dudes in the entire league, just like my second pick, Uri. I love Uri. He is so freaking good, and no one remembers this guy. Even I feel like we forget about him. But then you watch him play, and you watch what he's done in his seasons at CRL, and you watch the moments that he gets put in, those really, really high-pressure situations. And, like, you know, when I've been coached by pros before, they'll tell me I'll lose by like 100 or 200 HP, right? And you're frustrated because you're like, man, I was so close. And they're like, dude, that's a really good thing. If you're losing your games by under 500 HP regularly, that means you're doing so many things right, and you're only making a couple mistakes. I feel like Uri is a guy, or maybe even having some bad luck. I feel like Uri is a guy that's had a little bit of bad luck, a little bit of mistakes, and maybe not the best fit in where he's been with his team for the last couple seasons. I think this might be the year for him to really, really come out and be that head-to-head guy that we kind of all expected him to be for Fnatic, but now maybe on the level of that top 1% that we talk about some of the other players in CRL. So I like him as my second pick. I'm really torn here with Tribe. I really wanted to put Jupiter or Boofmac in either of my lineups, but I honestly think because of the other one, I can't pick them. I think that either one of them could go on a run and then just maybe bench the other one, because it's like, well, how do I put in, you know, X over Y when Y's been performing so well for so long, you know? So I think either one of them could kind of steal that first spot in head-to-head play. So I'm sticking with Razor and Uri, and I'm actually going to go to the very top here on, you know, if you're looking at your esports tab, I'm going to go to Anaban.
Okay.
I'm one of the naysayers of Anaban. I really am. But I saw what he did at No Tilt, and I saw his win rate, and I saw his record, and I saw what he was doing and how he was doing it with different decks. He's good. He's really good, and he's really fun to watch play. He's got a massive, massive fan base supporting him, so I think he's got a lot to prove out there. I just feel good about the guy. I really do, even though, honestly, for the longest time, you could say that I was a naysayer. And then the last person I'm going to pick is the mad scientist himself. It's OP Sam.
Man, Andrew, you're taking all my picks.
Sorry, man.
It's good though. It's good. We have the same.
I loved Sam. It felt like he struggled in 2019 a bit with the loss of bans in head-to-head play. But then, honestly, towards the end of the fall season and what I've seen him do online, it feels like that same kind of mad scientist is back with the way that the meta is and the way that he's gotten a little more confident in his head-to-head play. And also, you know, he's teamed with Morten, which is one of the best 2v2 duos out there. And I know that he's going to come into the King of the Hill works, you know, the lineup, because that's one of the things about SK. Yes, they have 4 incredible players, but they also will change up what 3 you'll see in King of the Hill and the 1 that you'll get in the 1v1 pretty regularly. So I think Sam has a lot of potential to get a lot of crowns that people might think or might just forget that he has the opportunity to.
And defending ladder champion, let's not forget that one as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely, right? So coming off a first place finish in April, OP Sam's on my list. You know what, you guys mentioned most of my names, but I will throw out a couple more. Anaban was on my list as well. I think the Anaban is, you mentioned it, but his deck pool he's kind of a mad scientist in his own right too, you know?
Yeah.
He brings out the freeze, known for like P.E.K.K.A. freeze decks on ladder, but you know, he is a popular dude, a polarizing dude, but I've always kind of loved him, and I love the BM. I love everything about Anaban. I think he's an entertaining guy to watch, certainly. And then you mentioned Razor. Razor has to be mentioned, you know, a big fan. OP Sam's also on my list for Dark Horse, and there's so many good players. It's so crazy now that they consolidated like Latin America in EU. It's like you can make a case for 80 or 90% of these guys, you know, as being a sleeper. I think that for me, a guy that I wanted to mention too, and I have a question for you guys. So who's playing 2v2 for Queso?
That's a tough question.
Yeah, that's actually
my
big
last guy
is
IMJP. I think there's a lot of hype in JP coming from CRL Asia, and I think that, you know, he's proven himself. He has a really interesting kind of storyline and trajectory as a player, right? Where he was dominant, you know, 2-3 years ago, whatever it was, in the first season, and then he fell off towards the end of the season. Then he went to Asia, took some time to adjust there, and then he became kind of a superstar in Asia. Now he's back to CRL West. How do you guys feel about IMJP? And who's the 2v2 team on Queso anyway?
Yeah, I was actually hoping Rich could tell me what the 2v2 team was, because I keep looking at this roster, and again, from what I've heard about them all being in a team house, maybe that's the same thing that Queso's always done, which is keeping us guessing with their 2v2 duo. Mm-hmm. You know, Benny and Kuchi are like such strong anchors in Queso when you talk about like just being vets of the game, and also their mood on set is always great. I feel like they could do what they've done before, which is like throw any two out throughout the regular season that are just as good as any other two, hide that absolute best duo until late in the season or playoffs, because Queso's done it before. And with this foursome, I can't imagine them not wanting to do it again. What do you think, Rich?
It's interesting. I think Ruben ends up playing a lot of 2v2 this season.
Okay.
Ruben and Azealis both. I mean, Azealis, of course, we all know, reinvented himself as a 2v2 player over at Team Queso. Of the remaining guys left, Ruben has the best record from last season, going 3-2 in sets and overall 8-4 in games. And I think that Queso wants to put the ball in Ruben's hands as much as humanly possible. That's the big thing about him. Like, he is world class in any, whether it's 2v2, 1v1, King of the Hill. And now that they have JP, I think that we'll see a lot of Ruben potentially in 2v2. I'd be surprised if we see JP get mixed into 2v2 at all.
Yeah, because Benihoo and Kuchiku are 2v2 are great at 2v2 anyway in their own right, and then you have Ruben, like you said, getting the most reps. So that does make sense. So probably save for JP for like the 1v1 maybe.
Yeah, I think JP's is their primary 1v1 guy as long as the hand is hot. They can always pull the trigger and throw Ruben into 1v1 and decide to put Kuchi and Benny in as 2v2. And of course they have, coming up on a 4th season of experience playing together in 2v2. But I think that you'll most likely see Ruben with a mixture of Benny and Kuchi in the 2v2 set, and IMJP as their 1v1 set guy.
Yeah, and I think both of us, or at least I think I speak for both of us, and please correct me if I'm wrong, I think we're both really excited to see JP come back to our side of CRL. I know that we were both fans of him a lot in NA and EU, but as he said, he kind of fell off. I love that he's spent the last couple seasons kind of maturing and developing his gameplay. I am so very excited to see IMJP back in matches that I'm calling, especially with Queso. I feel like it's the absolute best place in the entire world of CRL for him to be.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I'm just excited to say the golden-haired golden boy from Barcelona, Spain.
It's back. It's back, dude.
You got it, man. You got it. All the catchphrases all come back with him. It's awesome. Well, guys. Yeah, go ahead, Rich.
I was going to say, I have to say that of all the nicknames that stuck, because there's not, some of them have stuck, some of them have not stuck as much. Javi Catorce, we have to credit that with the Spanish cast, with Koji and Manu. Because before season 1 of CRL West or season 2 of CRL, the 4 of us were sitting around chatting CR, and they kept saying Javi Catorce, and Andrew and I looked at each other, we're like, we're using that. We are
so much better than what we're saying.
So much better.
Yeah.
No, the one that stuck the most that I'm proud of, actually, is the Mad Scientist. That's a season 1 nickname that I threw on Sam, and I threw out a lot there: Giant Slayer, King Killer, Golden Hair, all these different ones. But the Mad Scientist has stuck, and I am tickled pink by it.
There you go, man. Congratulations, dude. Your stamp, boom, has lived on. But guys, thank you so much for coming on here. It sounds like Morton, RF, Canario, and Ruben are, we all agree that's our top 4. We all put them as our top 4. So I think that an interesting strategy for you guys to kind of leave you with is maybe take 3 of these 4, and then go with one of, our dark horses or one of your dark horses, or of course go totally off the reservoir and go with a bunch of like gambles and try to be that one player who wins the top, because I can almost assure you that these 4 will not be the final top 4 performers. But I do agree that, on the chalk, these guys are probably the best of the best, just because they're amazing players who actually play 2v2 and get the most reps too. So guys, thank you so very much for coming on. Good luck with CRL this season. I know it's different with COVID and everything, but you guys are such a huge part of the competitive and just the overall Clash Royale community. So thank you for everything that you guys do.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us, man. It was a treat.
No problem. Guys, great time to go ahead and follow Clash Royale Esports. The YouTube channel will be linked. Make sure you tune in next week for CRL debut. I will be there. Obviously, Rich and Andrew will be there live with CRL this season. And, of course, follow them on MadCat and YouTube as well. Thank you so much for watching. A huge shout out to Stutts, Royale, and to Bren Chong, my YouTube partners. Check out their information as well. Thank you. And as always, take care, guys.